What's up, friends and fellow car collectors? Card Obvious here. Today I'm out here in the work shed, getting some work done. Decided I'm going to do a little bit different video today. I'm going to talk about 3 things in the sports world that I just want to talk about because I love talking sports. I mean, right, we're sports fans. We're sports fans first, collectors second for the most part, right? So I'm going to talk about 3 things that have happened in the sports world in the past week and what my thoughts are on them. Okay, so number one, Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph, that whole incident. Now, I'm sorry if this lighting is super harsh, but there's a light up here. It's kind of right above me. I don't know if I can get it right. Maybe there's another cat. All right. Yeah, so Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph. Here's my take on that situation. Okay, so Myles Garrett has been suspended indefinitely. Okay, well deserved. Dude swung a helmet. Don't do that. Don't swing helmets on the field, okay? So Myles Garrett got suspended indefinitely for that fight. Mike Pouncey got suspended for 3 games. I believe another defensive lineman for Cleveland, don't quote me on this, but got suspended for a game, and Mason Rudolph got a fine. Okay, so here's my thoughts on that situation. So there was a lot of upset people, a lot of emotional takes after the game. If you read Twitter or any social media, directly after the incident, you saw a lot of emotion. A lot of emotion in those posts and people's opinions and their takes on the situation. Here's my take. And it's now like a week later. So my main thing is, number one, I agree with Myles Garrett's suspension. You can't swing a helmet there. And I do appreciate Myles Garrett apologizing about it, knowing immediately afterwards that I made a mistake. I effed up, okay? Myles Garrett acknowledged that. Now, Myles Garrett never comes off to me as being a misbehavior. I just think he got caught up in the moment, made a mistake. He's now paying the price by being suspended indefinitely. Mike Pouncey. Okay, Mike Pouncey got suspended for 3 games. Okay, so here's how I see that. Mike Pouncey saw his quarterback get hit in the head with a helmet, goes a little ballistic and starts throwing punches and stuff. I don't think Pouncey should be suspended too much. I mean, you're going to get suspended for throwing punches. Number one, you throw a punch in a game in the NFL, you're going to be suspended. So he threw punches and he kicked Myles Garrett while Myles Garrett was being held down by another Pittsburgh offensive lineman. So Pouncey got 3 games. Okay, I can somewhat agree with that. You punched and kicked a dude in a game. All right. Lastly, Myles Rudolph got a fine. This is what I don't agree with. Myles Garrett should have, or not Myles Garrett, but Mason Rudolph should be suspended for at least 1 game. At least 1 game. You cannot take him out of that situation and that situation still happen. Yes, Mason Rudolph was the victim of a helmet swing. But you got to remember, Mason Rudolph was the instigator of that whole situation in the first place. Now, I'm sure this has been talked about over and over again, but number one, there was no late hit on the quarterback. Okay? When Garrett took him down, Garrett didn't throw him into the ground, just took him down. It was a slow sack, but Garrett, there was nothing malicious in the actual football play, the tackle. Okay? Then Mason Rudolph tries to rip Myles Garrett's helmet off, kicks him in the crotch. Myles Garrett rips off Mason Rudolph's helmet, and we all know where that ends up afterwards. Mason Rudolph got off with a slap on the wrist. Absolutely. It's a slap on the wrist. How do you not suspend Mason Rudolph for his actions in the game? He kicked another player. So think of it like this. Imagine Tom Brady and the Patriots are playing the 49ers. Nick Bosa goes after Tom Brady, wraps up Tom Brady, but slides off because the momentum takes the other way. Tom Brady completes a pass, looks down at Nick Bosa, says something, and Nick Bosa kicks Tom Brady in the balls. Could you imagine how many games Nick Bosa... No, I'm not saying Nick Bosa would be suspended. I'm just using that as a thought experiment, I should say. But could you imagine how many games that Nick Bosa or any defensive end would get for kicking Tom Brady in the crotch? Okay? But Mason Rudolph kicks Myles Garrett in the crotch and gets 0 games. I don't understand that. I don't see where the standards of the NFL is coming in. Yeah, I can understand the suspending of Pouncey and Garrett. but not suspending the instigator and somebody that physically assaulted. I wouldn't use the term assaulting, because a lot of people be upset because saying, oh, Garrett assaulted. If anybody did assaulted, it was Garrett. But Mason Rudolph did attack Myles Garrett. There should be a suspension for that. Just general. That's just my thoughts on that whole situation. Sure, I mean, I'm sure some people won't like that, but any sports opinion video is going to be disliked by some people. So, all right, let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is the allegations that the Houston Astros stole signs during their 2017 season. And there's all this video evidence and stuff of the banging of, I think it was trash cans and whistling, used to steal signs to signal off-speed pitches to the batters and all this. Now, here's my take on that situation. Stealing signs is a part of baseball. I mean, people have been accused of stealing signs for all the way back since the shot heard around the world, and probably before that. The shot heard around the world, supposedly at the Polo Grounds. The Giants had a guy out in center field with some binoculars that was relaying down to the bullpen. The bullpen would relay the sign back to the hitter at some point, and the hitter would know what pitch is coming. Now they're saying the Astros use cameras to, zoom in on the pitch selection and to signal with audible noises, like I said, banging on trash can or whistles to signal different pitches. Now, I think sign stealing is part of the game. However, the use of technology for sign stealing, I'm not cool with that. One of the main reasons they got rid of the Apple Watches and, any kind of phone devices or anything like that on the field shouldn't be allowed because, you can steal signs. And as far as the vitriol being cast on the Astros about it, it's, well, maybe you should have caught on earlier. I mean, if this was blatant, and judging by some of the videos, it seems pretty blatant, like with the sounds and stuff like that. Like, this didn't take some deep investigative journaling to, journalism to figure this stuff out. It's obvious on broadcast air that there's noises being made. Okay, why is this just coming out now? I mean, most teams should have told other teams, look, be careful when you played the Astros because they're stealing signs and they're tipping off the hitters based on sounds. I would have thought the other organizations that were playing the Astros during that season would have picked up on this way before now. That's what I don't understand is why is this coming in now? And not previously. You would have figured teams would have picked up on this way before. I mean, these are professional baseball players. You got managers that have been in the game for 30, 40, 50 years. Should have been able to notice all this stuff. You can't tell me none of this had ever happened before 2017. No, sign stealing's been part of the game for so long. So, what's my proposal to fix sign stealing in the majors? Even though I don't see it as the biggest problem in the world, why not give the catcher and pitcher a radio, like the NFL, the quarterback gets the earpiece and gets the play call from the sidelines through radio. Give the catcher a mouthpiece and give the pitcher a earpiece. Maybe give the catcher, since their mask sits so low, you give them one of those Navy SEAL things that sit up against your vocal cords. So all you gotta do is whisper. You gotta be like fastball, curveball, change up, beam this guy. It'd be something as simple as that. And there'd be no longer stealing signs. Now you no longer have catchers with fluorescent fingernails, so the pitchers can see the signs. You'll no longer have pauses in action while the catcher goes and talks to the pitcher because there's somebody standing on second base. And to do that 3 separate times because they think that the person at second is signaling the runner. It's an easy fix. Yeah, just give the catcher and a pitcher a radio, and they can call pitchers. Or call pitches. without having to flash signs in their crotch. Okay, so for the third thing, comes from the college football world. A bit of injury news. Of course, anybody that's a college football fan knows that Tua for Alabama, I'm not going to attempt to say his last name because I will butcher it, but Tua T from Alabama had a hip injury. It's going to end his season and possibly derail where his draft status is. Now, when the Dolphins started off the season 0 for 7, and people were considering them to be the worst team of all time, a lot of people called it the tank for Tua, right? You know, you're tanking in order to get the perceived best player in college football. Now that Alabama lost to LSU, so boom, right there, Tua's draft stock kind of dropped a little bit, right? As it stands right now. You know, of course, there's a lot of things that happen in the future, in the combine and all that. But they lost LSU, so you had a little bit of a drop there. And then the hip injury, which was supposedly pretty serious. I mean, you get carted off the field because of a dislocated hip, which sounds super painful. How does that hurt your draft status? I mean, Tua is not a senior, is he? I mean, Tua doesn't even have to come out this year if he doesn't want to. But with the injury history of Tua, you would have to come out this year, right? I mean, why give it? You only have so many years of playing football in you. Football is a violent sport. Football, you are going to get injured while playing football. Nobody goes through a football career with ever not being injured or playing through some sort of pain. Football is a violent sport. You're going to get injured. And Tua has a history of getting injured. Ankle, now the hip. So this is obviously going to affect his draft status. Will he be healthy enough for the combine, you know, next spring before the draft? Will he be healthy enough for that? This, you know, if he's not healthy, if he shows his mobility is not there, you're going to see his draft stock plummet. Now, there may be, you know, a general manager or two out there in the NFL that believe he can get healthy and he can be the Tua that we saw 2 years ago, the Tua we saw last year, where just, you know, was obviously the best player on the field and in college football at the time, if you ask me. And you know, this injury could end up costing him millions of dollars just from, you know, the signing bonuses and all that based on the draft slots. Now I realize that, you know, there's a maximum. I think Sam Bradford signed the last huge contract for a rookie. But Sam Bradford's another example of a quarterback that had injury concerns. Sam Bradford had shoulder injuries all throughout college and got to the NFL and was the same thing. So all these injuries to Tua, you know, it really hurts not only his draft stock, but I think it hurts football as a whole. I mean, the guy was a special athlete. I mean, there's no denying that. And I realize that there's a lot of Alabama hate out there. I mean, I'm not an Alabama fan. I'm a Hurricanes fan. And I know all about hate, you know. Late 80s, early 90s, this was the team everybody hated. Nobody liked the Hurricanes back then. They were a dominant team. They had that swagger. They knew they were a dominant team. It's just like Alabama, and, you know. Alabama wins all the time. People don't like teams that win all the time. It's the reason why teams like Alabama and the Yankees and the Patriots get so much hate, because nobody likes to see these teams win all the time, except for their fans. Their fans see it like, you know, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm just, you know, I know what it feels like to be the fan of a team that's pretty well hated. But yeah, so that was my 3 things. I'm gonna do a quick. I only got one thing in the mail this week. This comes from Joey JJZ. So you all know JJZ from YouTube. I know exactly what this is. So I'm gonna show off what JJZ sent me. And I think it's something's going to be pretty cool. And kind of coming out of top loader here. So this is this is 89 tops. Wade Boggs. Through the mail. You can see my phone there in the reflection. But it's a Wade Boggs through the mail autograph card. So pretty cool. Wade Boggs kind of signed it like this. I don't know why he couldn't have signed it right across the bottom here. But JJZ really wanted to get into one of my budget breaker breaks. My budget breaker breaks. my bargain buster breaks. Sorry. I can't even get the name right. Too many B's. And he wanted to know if he could trade for a way to get in. I said I only collect Hall of Famers. He says, I got a Wade Boggs autograph. He says it's through the mail, though. It's not an official sanctioned autograph from Topps. I said, that's cool. I remember because I had seen the video where JJZ got these Wade Boggs back from Wade Boggs. So it's a through the mail. But JJZ, I got your card, so I got your entry into the breaks, your payment for the breaks. We appreciate it. I will trade for break spots if we can agree on a trade. I have no problem with that. So, it's a good segue to say that I still have 12 spots open in break number 5. I noticed the action on purchasing break spots has slowed down a lot recently, and holidays are coming up. That's totally understandable. You'll see breaking slow down as holidays come up because people need money for the holidays, and that's all good. I say take care of your family before you take care of your card addiction. But yeah, this video is running long. So from the shed, I don't know where the cat went. Yeah, that cat is Porch Cat. I call it Porch Cat. We had 2 cats. We had Shed Cat and Porch Cat. This is the work shed. Shed Cat we gave away to somebody. Porch Cat became Shed and Porch Cat, but kept the name Porch Cat. So if you happen to see a black cat in any of these videos I do from the shed, yeah, that's Porch Cat. But anyways, I got to get back to work doing other things. This is Card Obvious. Appreciate y'all stopping by, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace. All right, everybody, say hi to Porch Cat. This is Porch Cat. This is a cat you saw flash on the screen earlier. So this is Porch Cat. Say hi, Porch Cat.